Hey, what's up guys? This is Mast, and right now patch notes just came out for the upcoming patch. We gotta read them. So I have not looked at them yet. I have not checked these out yet, but I want to know. Let's go ahead and go through them. So, skins, I'm assuming, is what's up first. Yes, there are some skins. We'll look at them real quick, just real quick. Even more lesbian Bologna is now a skin. This actually looks pretty sick. Order and Chaos, I don't know. Gold, Diamond, etc. Discordia, can you ban her out of the game, please? Thank you. Abyssal Knight Ares, Vulcan update for the Golden Legendary and all that stuff too. Okay, updated FX to be less scary for allies of Vulcan. Down with that. Items and balances, here's where it gets interesting. Let's see what they're doing. Jade Emperor's Crown looking like it's getting a nerf. That's good. As we continue on the path towards the SMITE World Championship, we're focused on small adjustments that bring as many possible strategies, items, and gods into the forefront without disrupting strategies teams are currently employing. At this time of the year, we're also looking towards gods that have been on a downward decline in the last half this year that can be buffed in a safe way for all players without disrupting the absolute top end of play. We'll keep a close eye moving forward to any issues presented, but 4.24, the patch SWC will be played on. Heyo, coming in one patch after this, will only include changes that absolutely need to be made before we close out for the year. 4.25 will be the last patch of the year, and then we'll move into Season 5 early next year. So Jade Emperor's Crown just reducing protections to 50. Okay. Jade Emperor's Crown is OP. Anybody who doesn't know this, just in case you didn't know, Jade Emperor's Crown is an OP item. The reason Jade Emperor's Crown is an OP item is that it gives you a lot of defense, basically. 60 protections, 100 health, and then you also get to reduce their power by 30 for a cheap cost. So this is a cheap item, which reduces enemy power by 30. What are some items that you buy in the early game on a physical character? Maybe Brawler's Beatstick, maybe Joans Wrath, maybe Devourer's Gloves. Jade Emperor's Crown basically removes the power you get out of those items. 30 power is a ton early game. It's not scaling. It doesn't need to be scaling. I'm just saying it's not scaling, which means that you reduce their power by an insane amount in the early game. It's a really, really hard hit, and then it still gives you a bunch of defense. So, in my opinion, this item can be just as tanky as you want it to be, but the aura needs to be nerfed because 30 power is stupid, in my opinion. But that's not what they did. They just made it a little weaker. It's good to nerf it. I think it's the wrong way to nerf it. Whatever. We'll move on. Gladiator Shield. Gladiator Shield's been a staple for Warriors. Oh my god. High res. Okay. After multiple balance adjustment, it has been brought much closer in its power level to other items. In this patch, we want to bring it down only slightly to ensure diversity in Warrior builds. Okay. Now we get to talk about Gladiators and why Gladiators is OP, I guess. Gladiator Shield is not OP because of the protections. I promise you that I could have 0 protection Gladiator Shield, and I would still build it on Cuchulainn. Especially, who is the strongest warrior in the game right now, and a lot of people complain about him. Duke Sloth literally just put out a rant video about him, which is totally warranted. Gladiator Shield gives you 2.5% healing on both your health and your mana whenever you hit an ability on an enemy god. So for characters that have low cooldowns and a lot of cooldowns, Gladiator Shield is really, really strong. The problem with Gladiator Shield is that it sustains you based on your amount of cooldowns, how easy they are to hit, etc. So some people can use it really, really well, and some people can't. Some characters get next to nothing out of it. So, on Cuchulainn, who procs it on literally every ability. His 1, his 2, his 3, his 4, and then on a switch chance he gets it on his 1, his other 2, which procs automatically, by the way, his 3 and his 4. Every single one of those procs Gladiator Shield, which means he can heal minimum 20% health if he hits one god with each one of those abilities. That's minimum. And so that's not as extreme for other characters, but it needs to be nerfed. Or really better, probably should be removed from the game because why do Warriors need sustain? They could get Stone of Gaia. HP 5 is cool. HP 5 sustain is fine. But nerf Gladiator Shield for the sustain, not for the protections. The protections already aren't good. So, I mean, it's still a nerf, but that's not the right nerf. It's not the reason it's so strong. Similar to Gladiator Shield for Warriors, the Executioner has been a core item on most hunters, whether they are working towards power, critical damage, or on-hit effects. Who builds crit in 2017? Let's be real. Anyways, we're reducing the physical power it provides to nudge it more in line with other options for hunters. Okay, I think XC's too strong. Nerfing the power, that's totally fine. Yeah, that's fine. Devo Gloves, increased cost from 2,000 to 2,100. This is a good nerf. Devo Gloves is the go-to item for AD carries. If you're an AD carry anywhere in the world, at least in Conquest, you should be building Devo Gloves because it's very, very good. You just get tons of lifesteal, tons of power. It just sets you up into the rest of your build. Nerfing it is really good. The way it should be nerfed, I think, is a mixture of, I think it probably provides too much power. I don't think you need that much power on a lifesteal item once you get it stacked up. Like Bloodforge has a lot of power, but it's also more expensive and doesn't give anywhere near as much lifesteal, for example. So it doesn't really fit in line with the other lifesteal items because of that. Whereas Aussie doesn't really come close to its power because it doesn't have any, but it has a little bit of attack speed and it has similar lifesteal. So I think Devil Gloves needs more of a power nerf. I think it needs to be a lot more expensive. I think it needs to be minimum like 2,300 after that power nerf. I think Devil Gloves is extremely just unfair for ADCs, but I like that they're nerfing it. I think this is a good start. Hopefully it'll be more in the future. Hydra's Lament. Assassins, actually, I don't even need to read this shit. It's going to be too much. Not worth it. Increased bonus attack base. Oh my god. Really? Okay. Hydra's getting buffed, boys. God damn. Most of you guys don't know this. I think Hydra's is like the most underrated. Not the most. Hydra's is one of the most underrated items in Smite for certain characters. It's really, really good. You have to consider Hydra's close to crit. It's like situational crit, where it's kind of like getting a toned down crit after every ability when you auto attack. Some characters are really, really good at using it, and those characters are going to get a pretty decent buff from this. Now, the thing is with Hydras, you don't see it a lot right now in the meta because so many assassins are getting built tanky. But out of the assassin items, Hydra's actually really, really good if you're building true damage. If you're building an actually mostly damage build and not building bruiser, not building tank. Joans Wrath getting a nerf. Okay, so they're really, or not a nerf, but a reduction in cost. They're really trying to bring up some of the assassin items. That's a good choice. That's a good choice. Realistically, I think it's more than anything defense items need to be nerfed, because if you guys just look at the stats, defense items are stupid. It's been that way for a long time. I've brought that up a lot of times. 70 protections is a lot of protections. Now let's throw on some health. Now let's throw on some cooldown reduction. Now let's throw on a passive. And let's make it 2,200 gold. It's just ridiculous how cheap and extremely effective defense items are. That's the main problem. So Joans Wrath really doesn't need to be getting a change in cost, and Hydras doesn't really need to be getting a buff, but those need to be getting nerfed. That said, Hydras doesn't like to do things like that. They like to just kind of look at certain things that they think for some reason are the actual problem and not see the really big problem, and that's not going to happen. So I don't expect that to ever happen. I think they pretty much will not change defense items, even though the whole reason we're in this situation is because they changed a bunch of defense items at the beginning of Season 4, but that's the real problem for anybody wondering. Awelix getting onto the gods here. Fix an issue where this ability went farther than the targeter suggested, which was a 3. Increased range of this ability from 65 to 70. Okay, so it went too far, and then what we did is we just made it basically reach farther instead to make up for it. Okay. Gravity Surge increased the range by 5 meters, or 5 units. Camazotz, increased physical power buff from catching the Echo from 1030 to 20 to 40. Okay, so basically, a while back when Camazotz got a nerf, one of the things they nerfed was the physical power buff on Screech. Now they're reverting that part of the nerf. They're keeping the nerf to the damage on it too. I think that's fine. I think that's a fine change. Honestly, I think 20 power at level 1 still might be a little too much, even though that was one of the big things that made him weaker. I think 15 might be better. Either way, I think it's good to see a buff on him one way or the other. Discordia, are you kidding me, dude? She's so broken. Reduce magical power scaling from 70% to 60% on Strife. Oh my god, who cares? Her 2 is like the most broken ability in Smite. I'm not even kidding. Discordia's 2 is literally probably the strongest ability in Smite. I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong. Out of all the first 3 abilities, not looking at ultimates because ultimates don't count here, out of the core abilities you have on any character, I think Discordia 2 might be the most broken in the game. Because you have a high damage mage ability, which is easy to hit, and CCs at long range. So it's like, let's say you're playing a tank, right? Let's say you're playing a tank. You're playing Athena. If you want to use an ability at range to CC, you have to dash in. You have to jump in. You have to just do something to get in there as a tank. So you have to use 2 abilities to do it. That puts you out of position. But with Discordia, she doesn't need that. No, she can just throw it over there and root you. Oh, there's multiple people you hit? Great, you get a better CC and they hit each other. And in the meantime, you're building power and you're going to do 1/3 of their health minimum with that ability. You also have other abilities, so you're going to hit another ability on them with your 1, and that's going to do even more damage. So you get a ranged, safe CC that does a shit ton of damage and helps your team go on them and helps you go on them. It's just a ridiculous ability. So the reason Discordia is in any way OP is because of her 2, and reducing the damage is not the problem. It's that the ability is actually stupid to begin with, and it does not compare to any other abilities in the game because it's such a good range CC, and range CC is insanely effective. Anyways, range AoE CC is what I should really be saying. Anyways, Fafnir, increased cooldown from 15 to 16 seconds on Coerce, changed attack speed buff from 10 to 50% to 15 to 35%. That's actually a pretty big nerf to his 2. I think that's probably a good change because when he gets the actual switch stance on his 2, when he turns into, or when he uses his ultimate basically, it's really, really strong. So I think that's probably a good change. And keeping his CC still pretty intact. Kukulkan, everybody's favorite noodle, that's right. Increased base movement speed from 350 to 355. Okay, so he's still trash. Kukulkan needs really big changes, and 5 movement speed is not going to be a big change. Viper Shot, increased base damage from 10 to 30 to 15 to 35. That's actually a pretty big change for her early game. Viper Shot's really strong in the early game to begin with, so I could see that actually helping Medusa a lot if you want to play it like level 1. Well, not level 1, because you don't get her 1 at level 1, but level 2, level 3, etc. Rod's performance stats have been continually declining. Yes, they have. So Divine Light increased base damage from 6220 to 7270. Increased magical power from 40% to 55%. Sorry. Words getting tangled up, man. Okay, that's a decent help. I don't really think that's an ability that needs it very much, but I mean, it helps, so why not? I'm okay with that. I like Ra as he is, honestly, so I'm cool with that. Oh, this is the end of it. Okay. Susanoo has undergone many changes to his damage potential and mobility. After the last round of his adjustments, his frustration has gone way down, but so has his overall performance. We're bringing back some of his damage with an increase to Wind Siphon base damage. 60 to 120, going to 80 to 180. That should be okay, because Wind Siphon's fairly low damage. I think that'll be fine. I think we'll be okay with that. I think the 80 might be too strong at level 1. I don't really know if he needs a base damage increase at level 1. But I think the later in the game, once he gets to rank 5, will help. Although, honestly, to be honest, it takes forever to actually rank up that ability anyway. So I don't know how much of an impact it's going to make. So, yeah, I don't know. More than anything, it's going to be the level 1 increase. So, yeah, Susanoo getting a buff, whatever. I don't care too much about it. So there's the patch notes, guys. Not too much that we actually had to go over. I thought it'd be longer. But, yeah, some of these changes, they're fine. I think a lot of the time they could be done a little bit better. But luckily, most of these are good. I just think there are some definitely... Really, I think they're almost all good changes. It's just more of the concept behind them, I guess, is what I'm thinking. Yeah, I think they're all good changes, right? Is there anybody I didn't like? Camazotz, Discordia. Yes, there's none that I didn't like. It's just that I don't think they're done in the right way on some of them. But the good thing is we're not getting any stupid changes. We're not getting anything like, hey, we're not liking this. We're going to go ahead and buff this for it anyways, which is kind of what they did with Titan's Bane, or with Titan's Bane, but it's the opposite way. It's because they buffed Hunters. Anyways, yeah, I think this is actually a pretty decent patch. I just wish some of these were different. So thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you all in the next one.